tour the town's time again, and I'm about run out of ideas. Have you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I do. Being to Fort Morgan, Mobile Bay, you know so much about the Battle of Mobile Bay. What about our going out there and talking about that?
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hi folks, John and Susan here, and we are headed out on an adventure today out to Fort Morgan, which is the site of the Battle of Mobile Bay.
You know, I really like your idea about that, because there's, even on the way out to Fort Morgan, there's so much history along this road here. It's really quite fascinating. There were tremendous Indian settlements along the Fort Morgan Road. There's a place called Shell Banks where they would throw their oyster shells, and so apparently they lived a good life along this road here. And in fact, that I believe there's some burial grounds somewhere along the Fort Morgan Peninsula. Another thing that is kind of interesting is when ships would come in to Mobile Bay, they would have to be accompanied by a pilot ship. And there were competing pilot ships around in here. And there's a place called Pilot Town, which had a lot of these ships. And when a ship would show up offshore, they would race to see who got to it first in order to be able to accompany that ship into Mobile Bay and the city of Mobile. It's pretty interesting. I think Pilot Town got wiped out in a hurricane. I think it was 1906, but I'm not sure about that.
That's what I heard. We are now entering the Fort Morgan historical site. That's where you get on the ferry.
To Fort Morgan.
From Fort Morgan to Dolphin Island.
Okay, we're at Fort Morgan, and the largest battle of the Civil War, naval battle by far, was fought right here. Literally right here. There were, well, first of all, the Union Navy blockaded the whole coastline of the Confederacy to keep us from getting supplies. Mobile was still open, and blockade runners were coming in and bringing supplies from Cuba to us. Ulysses S. Grant figured, well, there's two ports that are still active for contraband. One is Wilmington, North Carolina, and the other one is Mobile. So he said, let's close it down. So on August the 5th, 147 years ago, 18 federal gunboats were approaching the harbor. August the 5th. The Confederates had this fort, which had 44 cannons, and over there, Fort Gaines, which is 3 miles away, and it had 18 cannons. In addition, they had a blockade. They had some sort of structure built in this pass here so boats couldn't get through it. But they also had what they call torpedoes, but they were actually mines. They're big containers of explosives. If a ship hits it, the ship would blow up. And so Admiral Farragut came right along here. Of course, the guns of Fort Morgan just banging away, and the ships are banging away at the fort. Comes through here. The lead boat, the Tecumseh. These boats are big. They're like 200 feet long, have a crew of 100. The Tecumseh hit one of the mines and sank immediately, carrying 100 sailors down with it. And it's right out there, it's still there. The other ship's captain of the other 17 kind of panicked and stopped. Admiral Farragut then said, "Damn the torpedoes. It wasn't full speed ahead, it's 4 bells ahead." Sailors don't say full speed ahead. Anyway, they made it up into the bay. One of the problems the Confederates had was the wind was blowing out of the west, and all that smoke from the gunfire, they couldn't see. They couldn't see who to shoot at. So the Union Navy got up into the bay, and the Confederates had a ironclad called the Tennessee and 3 other boats. The 3 other boats were not a factor. The Tennessee put up a heck of a fight, but it ultimately had to surrender. And then the Union Navy and the fort banged away at each other for about 2 weeks. And then on, I believe it was August 23rd, the fort surrendered to the Union.
Oh, wow.
During Hurricane Sally, this place right in here, this marina was torn up pretty badly, but as you can see, they are rebuilding it, and it's supposed to be better than ever. Look at all that steel over there they're gonna use. I think there's gonna be a really nice restaurant here. As you can see, boat storage off the ground, so ought to be pretty nice.
Isn't that Navy Cove oyster bed?
I believe it is. I believe it is. We had, golly, we had decades of no oysters because of they would use the oyster shell for building roads and all that, and it devastated the oyster population. But some folks are building oyster beds, and take it from Susan and me, they are Navy Cove oysters, and they are delicious. Hopefully that will also aid to clean up the water in the bay and provide a lot of oysters for us to eat.
If you want to try those, Sassy Bass, which is just up the road a few more miles on Fort Morgan, usually carries them.
Yeah. We just passed Sassy Bass that we were talking about, where you can get Navy Cove oysters, and food's generally really good there. Susan, you had Chilean sea bass. You said it's one of the best you've had.
It was really good. They've also got a great little market there that has fresh seafood, good meats, veggies, libation. It's basically your one-stop shopping.
We spent 16 years in Magnolia Springs, and which is the home of Jesse's Restaurant, which is a really well-known restaurant. We are told that Jesse's is going to open up a restaurant on Fort Morgan Road. Somewhere in here, somewhere along this road right here, will be a Jesse's, and it's supposed to open up in, I think, the year 22. I'm not sure about the time, but it's supposedly under construction, so that's something to look forward to.